Hey everybody, it is DB Mogul with the realpropertysystems.com website and the real estate investing channel, and this is Real Estate Investing 103, the third video in the series that I've been doing to introduce the subject of real estate investing and to help people get started investing for themselves. In this particular video, I want to try and put together what we've talked about so far and put some of these things into action so that you can begin to take action and see where you're going, see where you need to get to, and see where you want to get to and what it's going to take. So to summarize where we've been so far, we hopefully have established that we want to start investing in real estate. It's something that we've decided to do, we're motivated to do, we're excited about it, we're ready to take action, and we know that it's going to take some effort and some persistence and some time so that, we're plugging away every day, but we're getting closer to our goal, which is either, to get our first property or to continue on the path that we're on. I'm assuming a lot of people that are watching are beginning to take an interest in real estate investing, and that's awesome. So we've talked about the benefits of real estate investing, why owning real estate is generally a good investment, and it is certainly a way to achieve personal wealth and success quite easily. We've looked at some of the niches, some of the opportunities available for us to invest. We've looked at the idea of assessing our personal finances, that we want to be in a healthy financial state to begin to become an investor in real estate. Now we're going to do some things. There are a couple simple actionable things that we can do in the next week or over the weekend or whatever, whenever you decide to take up your take action. So it's just a couple of things, and I'll try and explain why it might make sense to do this. So hopefully you have looked at your finances. If you have an income, you've looked at your income versus your expenses, all of them. Living expenses, food, entertainment, insurance, all of it, and subtracted those from your income, and hopefully you're not living above your means at the moment. If you are, you got to look at what can be done here. If you need to look at side gigs to supplement your income so that you're not spending more than you earn, these are some of the things you might have to consider doing to be in the right financial health. To get going in investing in real estate. Can you do it with no income and no credit? Yes, you can, but I'm assuming you have a job, like most people have a job, and you want to maybe not have that job anymore. It doesn't really matter what your personal situation is. You can get started investing in real estate regardless of that. It simply takes the belief, the desire, the motivation, and the time. That was from the first video, and I'll stand by that. So what I suggest you do, having looked at your personal finances, is to get your credit score. Know your credit scores from the 3 bureaus. Get the report. I know you can get them for free nowadays. You can get them when you apply for credit. And so I'm going to recommend potentially you talk to a mortgage lender and find out what you're qualified for in terms of mortgage products. They will take your your income and your personal information, lots of information they're going to need, but they will determine how much house you could afford. And we're going to kind of pretend like you're, on the market for a house in your area as a retail buyer. The point is to gain some experience in dealing with mortgage lenders, to get an understanding of what you are qualified to own in terms of real estate through conventional financing. That part of the process is valuable. You can learn a lot about how mortgages are created, how they're written, how they're sold, what the costs are involved in purchasing real estate. No matter whether you do conventional financing or you use other sources like private lenders and hard money lenders, which we'll talk about in future videos. Many of the transaction costs are the same. So going through that process of getting pre-qualified will not only allow you to gain some valuable information about mortgage lending, about buying real estate, but it will also help you have your documents at the ready. Because whenever you apply for real estate financing, you're going to need a whole host of documentation, and to have these in a file ready to go will help you when it comes the time for you to seriously obtain financing for a deal that you locate. So I'm going to suggest that you get started with that. You can find a mortgage lender in your area fairly easily. There's Google and the internet and local banks. If you belong to a credit union, you can go and talk to a mortgage representative or a mortgage broker there. And don't do it necessarily with the intention that you're going to obtain a loan. You're just seeing what you're qualified for in the state that you are in now, with your income and your employment history. Okay, and based on that, you should be able to see how much house you could afford if you're a retail buyer of a home. Now, if you already own a home, or if you don't want to do that, that's okay. I suppose you could pass that up, but I do want to stress that you should really have a sense of your credit score, what's good about your credit score or what's bad about it, and what you can do to improve that score. And so once you have the report, you'll be able to see what the derogatory items are. If you have too many open credit lines and the balances are higher than the credit bureaus like, that's going to lower your score. If you have late payments on credit lines and any debtor anybody that you owe money to, if you're late paying and they report it to the bureaus, that's going to affect your report negatively. So what you need to do is look at that report and your scores and see what you can do about that. If your credit balances are too high, you need to think about lowering those balances so that you're carrying maybe a 30% balance to your limit on every open credit line, and that will reduce your debt but raise your credit score. The higher your credit score, the less you're going to pay in interest for a mortgage loan. It's ridiculously paradoxical, but the more money you have, the less you're going to pay to borrow money, and that's just a fact. If you can see this report, you can write letters to your creditors and ask them to remove any derogatory reports from them on that credit score. You can compose a letter to your specific creditors, offering a letter of explanation, and be contrite and ask them to remove these items, and many times they will. They will remove them from your credit score, and your credit score will be higher. And the higher the score, the more people are going to want to lend to you. Okay, so that's one thing to get going with. So you've looked at your personal finances, your own liabilities and assets and expenses and income, and you have a sense that that your financial your financial house is in order, and you can move forward in pursuing real estate investments. Now, the second thing I'm going to suggest that we do is to consider the niches that we've talked about, the areas for investment in real estate, whether it is commercial real estate in any form, if it's raw land you're interested in, if it's condominiums or simple single-family homes, or 4-unit buildings, 10-unit apartments, 100-unit buildings, or any niche that appealed to you as a vehicle for investment. I want you to find out where they are in your area. Okay, if you live in if you live in a residential area where it's mostly single-family homes, I want you to know that market that you're in. I want you to know what the houses on your street are trading for. You can use places like Zillow. You can use LoopNet for commercial and multifamily properties. You can look on the MLS as well. But if you want to get into developing raw land, which I wouldn't recommend for a beginner, but if that's really where you want to be headed, find some raw land in your area and see what it's trading for. See what it's worth. Look at the value of the particular real estate investment that interests you, so that you know what the market is that you're entering into. Okay, so if you want to buy and hold multifamily properties, you need to look in your area and see what the market is for multifamily properties. Whether you want, triplexes, fourplexes, duplexes, more units than that. I want you to look at what they're trading for in your area, so that you know where you need to get to be able to enter that market. And then I want you just to look at the market all around you. So if you live in a city, you're gonna have to know every area in your. Well, you're gonna have to know your area, okay, and what trades in your area, whether it's apartments, condominiums, cooperatives, single-family homes, condominiums. I want you to get to know at least the area that is within your immediate reach, so that you know what the market is in your area. And if it's this way, you'll get a sense of where you need to be, what you might be able to afford to purchase. Now, if you need to go to other areas in the town or city that you live in, get to know them. Get to know where. I live in Southern California, so I might want to know what's happening in Santa Ana, or I want to know what's happening in Fountain Valley. I want to know what's happening in Huntington Beach. And as I go to each of these cities, I'll look and see what the median price of homes is in these areas, so that I know what they're trading for, so that I'll begin to be able to spot a deal, or see what's too expensive, or see what I need to do to get into that particular market. So you don't have to go at it like you're actually going to make a purchase this week, but you can spend the time to familiarize yourself with your local market. And that can be your entire county. It can be the entire state you live in. As much as you can familiarize yourself with your local market, the better off you're going to be. This is all in line with creating that vision for yourself, creating a path for where you want to be. Like if you want to be a large apartment owner, you're going to find out that the 140 unit complex up the street is worth about $100 million. So how are you going to buy that? Okay. It may seem out of reach, but that's where you might want to end up. And so now you know where you're headed. With that in mind, treat this like it's a way for you to carve out that path, to create a vision for where you want to be, and look at what that is and what you're going to need to get there, even deal by deal, property by property. If we're going to start small, I want you to know what that looks like in your area. So if you can do those two things, you will not only have a sense of your creditworthiness, and we're not necessarily going to use our own credit to purchase real estate, but many investors do. We're also going to begin to gain specific knowledge of our local market, and that's going to be tremendously valuable as we move forward. So with that in mind, these are some things that you can do right now, I will get back to you on the next video. I look forward to it. Please like and share this video on your social network. Subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't picked up a copy of your free guide to becoming a real estate mogul, you can get a free copy by clicking the link in the About section here. And also check out some of the ebooks that I've written, for they will also help give you the information and resources you need to get started and keep getting started and keeping going in real estate investment. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.